In 2022, my wife and I moved from Ohio to California. I had a gym in Ohio for 5 years at that time, and we just wanted to change. So we ended up moving to California. I left that gym and had really a fresh start. I was training a few people online, but nothing really substantial. And I was in a place to really create whatever I wanted to. And I had learned a lot from my previous gym. Again, I was there for 5 years, struggled for a lot of it, and finally turned some things around towards the end. So I had learned a lot along the way and was able to take those lessons into whatever I was going to do next. And after looking, I decided upon a gym, right? It was what I knew, so I figured I would do it there too. And I decided to start in our garage. Now, there was one thing in particular that I learned from the previous gym that I wanted to make sure that I did at this second location when we were in California. And that was make sure that I made the money that I wanted to make while working the amount of hours that I wanted to work. And to help me be able to do that, one of my mentors at the time gave me this formula that I'm going to show you today to help me create my ideal gym. So I'm going to walk you through the process of how I created that so that you can use it for yourself. So I started as with, probably you might as well, the most exciting thing, which is the money. And that's the goal here. So my goal at the time was $15,000. It's what I wanted to make per month to start out with the gym. So I have that number here. The second thing that I came up with was price. What did I need to charge? Now, I had an idea already having a gym before. I had moved from Cincinnati to San Jose, a little bit more of a premium market, being in California, which is quite a bit more expensive. So I went and started charging $429 a month. So if we look at average client value, I made it really easy for myself to figure that out because I only offered one program. It was 2 days a week, $429 a month. So if we have average client value, we have 429, and the average classes per week is 2. So you can also follow along on the right side here. I have the steps that we're going to go through. I set my goal, I figured out price, and that gave us average classes per week as well. So after those two numbers, the next thing that I figured out was class size. At my previous gym, again, I said I learned a lot of lessons along the way. I started out initially doing private training, one-on-one, and quickly learned that that was not the best way to build a business. So I eventually transitioned to small group or semi-private, where I was working with anywhere from 5 to 6 members at a time. And what I landed on, what I could fit comfortably in the gym, strategically, of course, was 6 total people. So that was the max class size here was 6. So now that we have our first 3 steps, the next thing that I needed to figure out was, okay, how many clients can I take on? Or how many clients do I need to get to hit this goal? And that's always something that I love to do, especially with a new business, because it makes it a lot more tangible. At first, when you're starting out, it can feel a little bit, I don't know if abstract is the word, but it feels hard, feels far away until you put a concrete number on that. And then it's like, okay, that feels a little bit more reasonable. So to find out my max clients, how many clients I could get, we're going to use this really simple formula here. So for max clients, I have F as our variable. F max clients is equal to the goal, so 15,000, over the price, 429. So let's take these numbers out. 15,000 and the price being 429. Now, I am not great at math. I had already done this ahead of time, so I already know that it's 35. 35 was my max clients. So we have this here. This formula is now done. And the last thing that we need to figure out, remember I told you I wanted to make the amount of money that I wanted to make, and I have that here. And I wanted to work the amount of classes, hours that I wanted to work. I didn't want anyone else to dictate that for me. So that's this classes per week, the last thing, step 5, that we're going to figure out. And that's this formula here. So the variable for classes per week is X. And now we're just going to start to input some of these numbers that we already have. So for F, F is our max client. That's 35. our average class per week, remember, I only offered one program option. It was 2 days a week. So that's pretty simple. That's going to be 2. And then our last number, M, is max class size, and that's 6 people. So now, to figure out how many classes a week I needed to work, I'm going to take 35 times 2. That's 70 divided by 6. I didn't do this ahead of time, so I'm going to pull my calculator out. 70 divided by 6 is 11.6. So let's round up to 12. So I was able to use a really simple formula like this to figure out that I could make $15,000 a month working 12 hours or coaching 12 hours a week. If you own a business or you've been in coaching for any time, you know that there's a lot more work outside of it than coaching. But I wanted to minimize my coaching, maximize profit so that I could make the biggest impact for clients too. You know, we don't just make an impact here, we make a big impact outside of that as well. So this is how I was able to use that formula. Now you can take it from here, input your own numbers, play around with it. This is a really easy way to be able to figure out exactly the type of business that you want to run, not just feel pressure or have to run. This gives you a little bit more agency over creating the business that you want.